Today, Jeremy led the band. I don't know if there's Jeremy. Jeremy's in the room. You guys don't know Jeremy, a lot of you. He is our administrator, and he's normally at our Millsboro campus, but we stole him this weekend and we threw him in a basement. And stealing's not a sin if it happens in church, I hear. I'm not sure. But I'm so thankful for you, Jeremy, coming and hanging out with us. So just show some love to Jeremy and our online family, our band, everybody. Man, and if you're new to the basement, maybe the last 2 weekends you've been coming and that's like your only experience in the basement, you're maybe looking at me and you're like, who's this guy? Like, he doesn't look like the other. He is not Cotter. All right, he is way older than Cotter. No, I am not Cotter. Cotter is the person on our staff who's rooting for the team that's actually winning in the NFL right now. That is the Eagles. I, unfortunately, am a Ravens fan, and we're losing everything. But my name is Joel. If you're brand new here, I'm the campus pastor around here, and I haven't been here the last 2 weekends. Last 2 weekends, our family has been going through some stuff, and so it's been kind of a rough season the last 2 weekends because the last 2 weekends my family has been on vacation in the Outer Banks. Some of you are ready to send me an edible arrangement for my loss or something, right? No, the only thing that's losing is my football team right now. Hey, who does not hate vacation? Like, you are down to get out of town, leave the bills, responsibility, leave the kids somewhere. You like vacation? I love vacation. It doesn't matter where. I love vacation. And I know I rag on I tease with the tourists sometimes. New Jersey people, I'm talking about you. It's all in love. Listen, I love being a tourist. I was down in Rodanthe, North Carolina. I was driving 5 miles an hour under the speed limit just to make the locals mad. Thought about feeding the seagulls. I called the town the wrong name on purpose to the locals. I love your town, Rodanthe. Just like you guys I love, what is this, Lewes, Delaware? What is this? I love being a tourist, and so we go down to the Outer Banks. Our whole family goes every September. We go near the Nights in Rodanthe house. Y'all remember that movie, the romantic movie? Yeah. I leverage that when I'm down there. I'm like, hey baby, we're in Rodanthe and it's night, so romantic. Anyway. But like I said, our family goes every September down to the Outer Banks. And there's a few things you can expect on the Tice family vacation. I don't know if there's anything like you guys got traditions or whatever, but we have some things that you can't expect are going to go down on the Tice family vacation. First off, my wife is going to fill up half our minivan with board games and puzzles. And I'm like, honey, can I bring, change of clothes this year? Oh, no, we got to we need to save room for Catan, Monopoly, Candyland. Okay, got it. And listen, it's not that I don't like games, but I do like a change of clothes on vacation, all right? But our van, you can always expect it to be full of games. You can always expect on vacation that my dad, my father, our lead pastor, is going to share some inappropriate story and or video with his grandkids, i.e. my children. Like in 2019, my kids were 4 and 5, and my dad was I guess he was thinking these kids are old enough now. These kids, they're ready to hear about the circle of life now. I'm going to share with them every dear birthing video I can find on YouTube. And I didn't even stop it when he did it, okay? I just took a picture of it. You want to see the picture? All right, this is him showing them dear birthing videos on YouTube. As I'm taking this picture, I'm like, this is going to create a lot of questions that my wife is going to have to answer, okay? And listen, was the video appropriate? No, but were my kids having a lot of fun? As you can see, yes, all right, but totally expected. This year, my dad told his grandkids, my kids, and my brother's kids, told him that when he was a kid, he used to put his cat in the neighbor's mailbox because she was mean. And so when she'd open her mailbox, there would be a cat in the mailbox. I'm not even a cat person and I'm offended, okay? But totally expected out of dad, all right? You can always expect one of those stories or one of those moments with my dad. The last thing you can expect on the Tice family vacation is the trash game. I don't know if you all know about the trash game, but here's how the trash game works. We always rent like a big place because the whole family goes down there. And so we get like this 4-story place, and the kitchen's always on the top floor. And you don't want to be like taking the trash down 4 flights of stairs because we're on vacation, right? Right, okay. And so what you do is you get the dumpster and you pull it up alongside the house. You open the lid. And when the kitchen trash is full, you take the bag, you go out to the balcony, go out to the deck, and you try to drop your trash 4 flights of stairs down into the trash. And it rarely works, but it's a lot of fun. So, yeah, now if you have to clean it up. So, you want to see like some of the trash games in 2019? I have a video. You want to see the trash games? Okay, watch this. Lost it. This is with a pizza box. Doink. Oh, you hit the... That's my aunt's car right there. She does not know we hit her car with the pizza box. I have a video from this year. You want to see my trash games drop from this year? Anybody? Okay, here we go.
Currently filming.
Are you filming?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. The trash drop, Outer Banks 2022.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what.
I don't make these videos, I promise. Nate does. He sent that to me this week. I'm like, that's a winner, man. Like, that's why you're on payroll, man. But there's just some things that you can expect on the Tice family vacation. How many of you got some things that you can expect on your vacation? You got some things that you just do? Yeah. And so listen, we don't just expect things on vacation. We expect things in life. We do. I'm going to show you, all right? And we'll set the bar real low. How many of you expected to wake up today? How many of you just thought you would make it to today? You thought you would wake up today? That's most everybody. The rest of you are sleeping. It's good. It's only the first 5 minutes of message. How many of you have some people that expect some things from you? Okay, like your boss, your spouse, your kids, your HOA. You got some things that are expected of you? Yes. How many of you expected to fix something this morning? Like fix your coffee, fix your hair, fix your face? Come on. Yeah. By the way, why is it that we wake up uglier than we went to bed? I don't get, the older I get, the uglier I get when I wake up, but that's a whole other thing. But how many of you expect your football team to win today? You're hoping that they'll win today? Yeah! Those are the Eagles fans. They probably will win. If you're a Washington Commanders fan, gonna lose. All right, so. But listen, isn't it true we just expect things in life? Like we expect to get a job, you know, maybe to be happy, maybe to find true love. You expect to maybe get married one day, maybe have kids one day, or at least get that 2,400 square foot modern farmhouse that Joanna Gaines made us all want. You expect to maybe be healthy. Some of us expect for the stock market to go up every once in a while. Hello? We have these great expectations that sometimes turn into great letdowns. Come on, who am I talking to? We have some great expectations that turn into some great letdowns. And so I came to church today to tell somebody this, and we'll put this on the screen. You may have some great letdowns in your life right now, but you can have some great expectations for your future because you have a great God. Amen. Let me just say that again. You may have some great letdowns in your life right now. You probably do. But you can have great expectations for your future because you have a great God. And so for the next 4 weeks, I'm going to try to show you what you can expect from God. Like, take it to the bank. It's going to happen. You can expect it. So I need everybody to play along. I need everybody to tell 3 people you can expect it. Come on, right now. You can expect it. You can expect it. I hope nobody told the other person that you look like you're expecting. No, they just went to Surf Bagel this morning, all right? So that's all that is. Anyway, hey, every week in this series, we're going to have a go-to verse out of Exodus, and this verse is sort of a big deal, like Butch, it's sort of a big deal. Everybody say a big deal. All right, now here's why this verse is a big deal. Because this verse, according to people who are smarter than me, Exodus 34, verse 6, is the most quoted Old Testament verse by other Old Testament authors. And so this is sort of like the John 3:16 of the OT. Now, you know John 3:16. If you're not a Jesus follower and you're in the room, you know John 3:16 because you've watched some football game and some weird guy's been in the end zone with his shirt off, wearing a wig, holding up a sign that says John 3:16, just kind of freaked the kicker out with Jesus. Have you seen this? So, Exodus 34, verse 6 is the John 3:16 of the Old Testament. I'm pretty sure 3,000 years ago in the Colosseum, there was some weird guy in the end zone holding up an Exodus 34:6 sign to distract the lions from eating somebody. I'm not sure, but I think that's what happened. And so, in Exodus 34, verse 6, we're having fun in church, all right? That's okay with you. Exodus 34, verse 6, God's people had lost some things. They had some letdowns in their life. And so you can probably relate to that. And then God is going to share with his people what they can expect from him. So just one more time, everybody just say expect it. All right, so Exodus 34, verse 6. By the way, if you don't have a Bible, you can expect to get a free Bible every Sunday in the basement as long as the basement exists, okay? So there's free Bibles out in the lobby. You can always grab one when you leave out of here today. But in the meantime, check out the screen. It says this: the Lord passed in front of Moses, calling out. Now, pause. I'm about to read God, talking about God, in the most quoted Old Testament verse by other Old Testament authors. Okay, so listen to this. The Lord, the God, talking about himself, the God of compassion and mercy. Not the God who's out to get you and can squash you like a bug. He is the God of compassion and mercy. Isn't that good news? I'm glad about that. He's the God of compassion and mercy. And he says, I am slow to anger and filled with unfailing love and faithfulness. And so listen, maybe you got some great letdowns in your life right now, but God himself, this is what you can expect out of God, that he is the God of compassion, he is the God of mercy, he is the God of patience, he is the God of unfailing love, he is the God of faithfulness. Come on, if that sounds good to anybody, can I get a preach it, brother, an amen, a cook the scrapple, something? Listen, I don't know about you all. I'm putting my hope in this verse right here. I don't want to put my hope in the economy. Hello? I don't want to put my hope in how I'm feeling today. I don't want to put my hope in an Oprah quote or a Dr. Phil quote or what the weather person is saying. I want to put my hope in God because did you know we can put our hope in the wrong thing? Did anybody know this? Did you know we can put our hope in the wrong thing? I really know this right now because, like I said earlier, I'm a Ravens fan. I don't want to hear Eagles fans, all right? I don't want to hear it. But listen, a few weeks ago, the Ravens, we were playing the Dolphins. Are there any Dolphin fans in the room? Wow. And did anybody else raise their hand? Just you. Okay, I don't want to. But listen, the Dolphins, man. We were playing the Dolphins, all right? And listen, in the fourth quarter, going into the fourth quarter, the Ravens were up by 21 points. Like, we're going to win, of course. Look, all the stats were on our side. In the last decade, no team has gone into the fourth quarter up by 21 points and lost the game. And it's not like we're playing against Patrick Mahomes. We're playing against the Dolphins and their quarterback. No one even knows his name. Down Tua many points to come back. That's his name. So, of course, I had all my hope that we were going to win against the Dolphins and Tua. We lost. The Ravens lost. It was the first time a team has given up 21 points in the fourth quarter in the last 711 NFL games. That was us. I put my hope in the wrong thing. And so, listen, that's kind of a fun way to say that we can put our hope in the wrong thing. And that's why I want to put my hope in the right thing. I want to put my hope in God, because only God is the God of compassion and mercy and patience and unfailing love and faithfulness. And so he is our hope. And so today, I just want to give you 2 ideas for what you can expect from God. Okay, so if you're taking notes, you can write this down. If you don't take notes, so this is great in 2022 because you can just take a picture of the screen with your phone. It's like the new way to take notes, man. This is so easy. So anyway, if you're taking notes or want to take a picture, you can do this. The first idea is this. If you want to have great expectations again, relocate your hope in God. If you want to have great expectations for your future, relocate your hope in God. Now, if I tell you this next story, I may need to relocate out of my house. You all want to hear it? You always get me in trouble, okay? That's the problem here. So I believe that there's 2 types of people on this earth. Just 2. There are those of you who love to garden. You love to till up the ground. You love to plant the seed. You love to put the water in there. You are passionate about gardening. And then the other type of person in the world is everybody else. You don't need a garden because you can go to the produce section in aisle 7. Who doesn't need... I'm just curious, who doesn't need a giant garden because you just got giant over here? How many of you don't need a garden? You just go to the giant? My people. The rest of you, I guess you have gardens. I don't know. And I got to be sensitive with this because my wife is in the room and I want to have a good afternoon. But in our house, we are great at the idea of having a garden. We are not so great at actually having a garden. Does anybody feel this? Anybody been there? Yeah, listen, this is not an exaggeration. The last 2 years of our garden, I have had 1 strawberry and 1 raspberry. That's true. That's all I have had. I mean, we are so bad at a garden, man. And so here, a few weeks ago, our garden, we can't grow actual things that you want to eat, but we can grow weeds. Real good at growing weeds. We had a crabgrass weed in our garden that was a Guinness World Record weed. They went from one end of our yard all the way to Milton. It was huge. And so I'm looking at our garden. There's weeds coming out of everywhere. I've had 2 pieces of fruit in 2 years out of this thing. And they're small fruit. So I'm thinking, yeah, that's my wife laughing because she's into the garden, man. And so I just kind of gently went up to my wife the best I could, and I was like, honey, do you think we could just not have a garden? How would you feel if I just stuffed it with TNT and just... She hasn't talked to me since I said that. No, she was real good about it. She was like, honey, that's okay. We can get rid of the garden. In other words, you can get rid of my hopes. But she said I could get rid of the garden. Now, men, this is when you're in a situation. Did she really mean I could get rid of the garden? Or does she mean that if I get rid of the garden, she's going to murder me in my sleep? I took her at face value. She said I could get rid of the garden. And so I got rid of the garden, buddy. But listen, this is true. I got rid of her garden in 2 seconds after I got rid of the garden. Stacy was like, I think we could have another garden if we just relocated 10 feet that way. I think it'll work just 10 feet that way. And I saw the garden hope in her eyes. I've been seeing it for years, people. And so, and I'm not against relocating the garden, okay? I'm just for relocating it to the produce section in Aldi. Because they have so many strawberries over there, guys. I don't know if you've seen, but there are so many strawberries at Aldi. But she's just wanted to relocate the garden. So I'm sorry, babe, that tore up your garden. I believe in your hopes and dreams. I need to get some love points back. Let me get some love points back. Here's what I love about my wife. She holds on to hope. She's if we just relocate it 10 feet this way, I'm sure we'll have 100% success. Holds on to hope. And listen, hope is good. Hope is your first step in the right direction. We all need hope. we need hope. Without hope, we give up on the garden. Without hope, we give up on fighting for our marriage, or maybe your marriage didn't work out. Listen, without hope, you give up on something better coming along or something better for your future. Without hope, we give up on fighting the addiction. Without hope, we give up on fighting to get out of debt. Without hope, we give up on something getting better in the future. We all need hope, don't we? So maybe you came into church today and you need some hope. And I have good news for you. You came to the right place because we are hope dealers around here. So just take this in. Listen, only if you need hope, just honestly, just take this in. Close your eyes, take it in. Only God is big enough to get you to your biggest hopes. If you need hope, only God can give you hope when all you see are life's biggest letdowns. And that's big news because that means it's not all on you. You don't have to make your own luck. You don't have to make your own hope. Okay, you just have to relocate your hope in God. I love Isaiah 40, verse 31. It says this. This gets me psyched. It's so good. It says, but those who, what, church? Okay, that was minimal. Volume level low. I'm going to do this again. And overflow, I need to hear you in the room. Okay, so everybody, but those who hope in the Lord. What happens? Will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. I don't even know what to do anymore, people. But they will sing on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. I don't know. You all are still talking football. It's all good. I mean, at least you're paying attention in church, I guess. I don't know. But if you can come back to me. Our main hope isn't in the Eagles. Our main hope isn't in the doctor report. Our main hope isn't in medication. Our main hope isn't in a lawyer. Our main hope isn't in your hustle. Our main hope isn't in a horoscope. It's not in some politician who promises you one thing just to get in office and then does something different. Hello. Our main hope is in God. Period. End of story. Shut the book. Cook the scrapple. Like, our main hope is in God. Because he's the one, as his verse says, that will renew our strength. And when we put our hope in him, we soar on wings like eagles. Sean in the back is just like, I don't even know. Listen, I'll be honest, like the soar on the wings like eagles, I don't even know what that means. But I do think it's a good thing because as every Eagles fan in my life has told me this week, the Eagles are 4-0. And so he's the one who renews our strength. When we're with him, when we relocate our hope in him, we soar like wings on eagles. Now, maybe you're like, okay, excitable guy on the stage. You know, I think the Red Bull is talking, okay, up there. Mountain Dew, yeah, see, you all know. Not this morning, though. But maybe you're like, why would I relocate my hope in God? And I 100% get that question. But can I just remind you of the most requoted Old Testament verse by Old Testament authors? God himself said, and we'll put this on the screen. He said, I am the God of compassion. I am the God of mercy. I am the God of patience. I am the God of unfailing love. I am the God of faithfulness. This is the picture. God said, hey, I want my followers to know this about me, what they can expect out of me, that I am the God of compassion, mercy, patience, unfailing love, and faithfulness. And so if his people can expect this, that means we can expect this out of God. And so maybe you came to church today and you need some compassion. I got good news. God's got compassion for you. Maybe you came to church today and you need some mercy. Hello. God's got mercy for you. Listen, maybe you came to church today and you need some patience because you have children. God has patience for you. Maybe you need some unfailing love because you're single and in the dating world. You're getting kind of weird love vibes on Bumble and Tinder and all the weird places out there. Listen, God has unfailing love, not this weird vibe love that's going on out there. God has faithfulness for you. This is the picture God chose to share of himself. And so what this means, when this is the picture of God, this means you're going to get through what you're facing. And that's not false hope. That's relocating your hope in a God that cares. Because if God cares for you, you will get through this. If God cares for you, you will smile again. If God cares for you, you will laugh again. Because that is who he is. This is his character. Your greatest hopes are only safe in the hands of our great God. I'm going to say that again because they missed it. Okay. Your greatest hopes are only safe in the hands of your great God. Amen. You all kind of missed it too. Overflow. Listen, your greatest hopes are only safe in the hands of your great God. Amen. There it is. See, because that is who he is. And so what do? We put our hope in God. We relocate our hope. We don't relocate it 10 feet this way or 10 feet that way. We relocate our hope in God because he's the God of compassion, mercy, patience, unfailing love, and faithfulness. Here's my last point this morning is if you want to have great expectations again, expect God's compassion. Now, I think that word compassion is interesting because I've noticed that we have compassion for different things. Have you noticed this? Let me give you an example. Some of you, when you see a deer, you're like, oh, Bambi. When some of you see a deer, you're like, oh, dinner. So that's probably a bad example. But we have compassion for different sort of things, okay? So like, let me give you a different example. When we went to the Outer Banks, or before we went to the Outer Banks, Stacey and I wrote our kids' school teachers and said, hey, if you need to send any homework down with our kids, they can do it while they're down on vacation. All the kids in the room were like, you're that kind of parent? Yes, we are. And so we told our kids, we're like, hey kids, like you can just expect that your teachers are going to give you homework to do while we're down on vacation. Now, every parent, you know how this went. You know what was about to go down when we told our kids, like, you're going to have to do homework on vacation. They all of a sudden get rubber legs, you know? And they're like, no, Dad, no, we don't want to do homework. We don't want to do it on vacation. I'm like, listen, your whole life is a vacation. What are you going to have to add up 2 + 2 = 4 in between the vacation pool and playing Minecraft? You're going to be fine. Parents, are you with me? You know how this is. So we told them to, they're going to get this homework. And 2 days before vacation, Nixon hadn't given us the homework from his teacher. And so we're like, hey, Nixon, like, did you get your homework from the teacher? And Nixon all of a sudden was like, I'm like, what are you speaking in tongues, son? Like, what is happening right now? And then every parent knows this kid is hiding something. He is hiding something. And so I was like, Nixon, you better tell me right now what is going on with this homework. You are not going on vacation. You will not hear whatever inappropriate thing my dad has to tell you this year. And that worked. Right away, Nixon was like, okay, I got my homework. My teacher gave me my homework, and I didn't want to do it on vacation, so I panicked, and I threw it in the trash. This is true. Up until that moment, I did not know what my parenting hot button issue was. I had no idea. In that moment, I decided my parenting hot button issue is you throwing your homework away that's supposed to be done on vacation. And my forehead vein just started. I was so upset. And I'm like, oh, man. Oh, buddy. I'm like, you come here right now, Nixon. Hey, Stacy, wherever you are now, you need to get over here. I'm like, Nixon, I can't believe you threw your homework away. Me and your mother, we are so disappointed in you right now. Aren't we, Stacy? Aren't we disappointed? And Stacy was like, Nixon, we are. I'm like, Nixon, me and your mother are going to have a conversation in private right now. We went into the bedroom, and Stacy's like, it is pretty funny. And so Stacy went into that compassion mode for her son, which was good, because I was about to ground Nixon for 97 years. I was so mad at Nixon when that happened. And it was so crazy, because after that, Stacy sat down with Nixon on the steps in the garage, and for like 30 minutes, she just calmly talked to him about why that was a bad choice. And, we're both on the same page. We both are like sticklers with, you can't be disrespectful. He had to write a letter to his teacher and all the things and all that. But Stacy went into that mom's compassion mode. Now, where are the mothers at in the room? Moms, where we at? Okay. How many of you moms have that compassion mode? Like every once in a while you can go in that compassion mode for your kids. Some of you are thinking like, I wish my mom growing up had some compassion. But moms have this compassion mode. And so back to everybody, the moms, the dads, everybody in the room. Quick question. What was the first word used to describe, or God used to describe himself in Exodus 34, verse 6? Anybody know? Compassion. The one person's listening. I don't know where it came from, but you're going to heaven, all right? So, was it you, Nate? Well, he's on staff. Well, that doesn't help. Look, I'm going to tie this back into the mom mode thing, all right? So if you can put up that next slide, it starts with the word compassion. The word compassion that we read in Exodus 34, verse 6, is connected to the Hebrew word verwoon. Everybody say verwoon. I probably said that wrong, and so did you. But that word is connected to the word womb. And so that means God is saying, listen, like, when it comes to my compassion and love I have for you, I kind of have the same compassion and love that a mom has for her kids. And moms have this like extra level of compassion and love. I remember a few years ago, I had surgery, and don't want to go into what kind of surgery it was because we are in church. But I took out an insurance policy on no surprise kids showing up in our house. Hello. That's probably inappropriate. But listen, it was the kind of surgery you don't need your mother to know about. You know what I'm saying? And so we didn't tell my mom. My mom found out, of course. I had been home from the surgery for 3 seconds. She pulls into my driveway like she has a GPS tracker on my car. She has 2 rotisserie chickens, macaroni and cheese, mashed potatoes, a pie, and she's like, you need to come over to the table and eat. You need your strength. Tell me all about this surgery. I'm like, not a chance. Not a chance. Moms have that compassion mode. Moms have that love mode. Why? Because we were in their womb. We were in their womb. And so I don't know who needs to hear this, and we'll put this on the screen, but the first thing God said when he described himself was, I have the type of compassion and love for you that like a mom has for her kids. First word he is describing himself. I have the type of love and compassion for you that moms have for their kids. Now, you might be seeing this and you're like, oh, he has that kind of love for Sister Susie. Because Sister Susie has Christian bumper stickers. Her license plate is Glorify. Somewhere in our church has a license plate that says Glorify. That's not a lie. Anyway. Or, of course God loves Sister Susie because she lets multiple people in front of her in traffic. Which, by the way, if I'm ever behind you and you let more than one car in front of you in traffic, I am judging you. I am thinking about slashing your tires and imagining you walking home. Who am I talking to? It's a one car limit, okay? But that kind of shows that we're a little jacked up because we imagine those things about somebody else. Which is why sometimes we don't think God can have love and compassion for us. But do you know who was hanging next to Jesus on a cross? Any Sunday school people in the room? Thieves. We don't even know their names. We just know they were a thief. Their hobby was thieving. They probably stole the hubcaps off of the dolly in front of them that let 2 dollies in on Jerusalem Route 1. Okay, they thieved some things. And so on the cross, one of the thieves is like, hey, Jesus, I'm jacked up. Would you have compassion for me? And Jesus said to a thief, he said, at the end of this day, when all this craziness is over, we'll be in paradise together. Jesus, a thief, in paradise together. Doesn't that sound like there's a joke in there somewhere? Jesus was with a thief in paradise after the resurrection. And that just gives me hope that God can love me even though I am jacked up. Is anybody thankful for that? If you're thankful for that, raise both hands, something. And so that is Jesus' compassion. The number one emotion connected to Jesus in the Gospels isn't anger. It's not sadness. The number one emotion connected to Jesus in the Gospels is compassion. Because that's who he is. When Jesus went on the cross, he stood between us and certain death. The Bible says that the wages of sin is death. But compassionate Jesus is like, not on my watch. On the cross, he stood between us and certain death. It kind of reminds me of you two. Hang with me. Now, I'm going to show you millennials and boomers how old we are. How many of you have never heard or know of U2? You don't know what U2 is. Let me see your hands if you're a Gen Zer, you're a TikToker, you're on Snapchat. There's a couple hands. Okay, that's good. My kids didn't know who U2 was. This week I was like, kids, it's a beautiful day. And they're like, it's raining, Dad. I'm like, I have failed you. Listen, Gen Zers, I know you didn't raise your hand because you don't want to be embarrassed, but listen, a little tip. If you ever want to distract your parents and sneak out of the house, just put the Joshua Tree album on in your family living room. And for the next 30 minutes, your parents will go into a 1980s time warp, and you can sneak out the windows, you can take money out of their wallet, you can burn the house down. They have no idea because they're having a karaoke session in the living room. Am I right? U2, man. Anyway, U2 is a rock band, if you don't know. And here's a really great U2 story. Back in the 80s, they had a song called Pride. And that's a song about Martin Luther King Jr. and Jesus and the power of love over racism. This is a great song. You might know it, like, Pride in the name of love. See, karaoke, I told you all. It wasn't very good. You need to listen to the real version. But it's this great song, but it was controversial because it was talking about the power of love over racism in the 80s. And so when U2 was doing their tour back in the 80s, they were getting a lot of death threats for that song. So one night they were about to play a show, and the FBI got this death threat about that song, and the FBI pulled Bono, who's the lead singer of U2, at the side, and they said, hey, we got this death threat that if you play that song Pride, and you sing that chorus, or that verse about Martin Luther King Jr., we got a death threat that somebody's going to shoot you at that moment in the song. And they said, we think it's credible. We don't think you guys should play tonight. And so Bono and the whole band talked about it, and they're like, there's no way we're not going to play. We are playing. And so they went out there, and they played, and they got to the song Pride in their set list. And right before that verse, where he talks about Martin Luther King Jr., Bono just kind of closed his eyes and just thought, well, this could be it. I mean, I could get shot right now. And he sang that verse, a shot rang out in the Memphis sky. And he got to the end of the verse, and he didn't get shot. And so he opened his eye, just kind of like looked. And what he didn't know is that before he got to sing, but after he closed his eyes, his bass player, Adam Clayton, had came and stood in between him and the crowd. And just stood there to take a bullet for Bono. And Adam Clayton stood there for the rest of the song, just standing in between a certain bullet and Bono. Isn't that the greatest like story ever? Yep. Like, if you're not listening to U2 on your ride home on Spotify, you are messing up. Don't turn on Justin Bieber, all right? U2. But I just think it's just that image of like Adam Clayton standing between the crowd and Bono. It's exactly what Jesus did for us on the cross. He stood between us and certain death. Why? Because he's compassionate. He's compassion and mercy and unfailing love and patience. Like, that is who he is. That's what we can expect out of our God. And so maybe you showed up today and things are going sideways in your life right now. Maybe you showed up and you have a lot of great letdowns in your life, and you're not expecting much good. Maybe you're the one who let some people down. I don't know what it is, but I do know that sometimes we lose hope. And I've been praying all week that you would just relocate your hope in God. Relocate your hope in his compassion, his mercy, his patience, his unfailing love. I'm just praying all week that you would just start to expect this kind of God, because God himself, that's what he described himself as. The only question is, are you going to believe he is who he says he is? Are you going to believe he is who he says he is? Now, I'm going to end with this story. How many of you have ever seen a movie one time, and the first time you're like, that movie's terrible. Then you watch it again, you're like, that movie's amazing. Has this ever happened to anybody? A few people, all right, that's better than the YouTube poll earlier. All right, so that happened to me with me for the movie Napoleon Dynamite. The first time I saw that movie, I thought, like, I am at least 10 times dumber for having watched this movie. Like, that was did anybody else feel like that after watching? Like, what? Yeah. Then a few years went by, and I watched it again, and I saw one of the characters in it. His name's Kip. I think we have a picture of Kip. We'll put it on the screen. No, we don't, but it's all good. Kip's on the back. There's Kip back there hanging out. That's Kip. Yeah, there he is. Listen, the second time I saw this movie, I started to appreciate Kip, and I thought, that movie's awesome. I loved it the second time. Now, I never had a vote for Pedro's shirt. Somebody said something about vote for Pedro's shirt. Everybody in college had a vote for Pedro's shirt except for me. But I do remember when Napoleon Dynamite was all the rage. It was around the 4th of July, and our whole friend group went to the fireworks here in Rehoboth. And all of our friends were there, like Bo Stinkin' Dukes, our worship leader was there. His future wife, Katie Dukes, was there. My brother was there. There was a bunch of us there. And one of our friends brought his friend. And his friend said, hey, my name is Pedro. And my brother said, I'm not calling you that. That's not your real name. And this wasn't like a race thing or anything like that. It was just like, this was the height of that movie being all the rage. Like, of course your name isn't Pedro. And the guy's like, no, my name is Pedro. And Tim was like, well, my name is Kip. I got here on a time machine. I bought off the internet. And in the most embarrassing moment of my brother's life, the friend who brought him was like, no, his name really is Pedro. And Tim just didn't believe it. And listen, I don't know what you believe about God. Maybe you don't believe he is who he says he is, but I believe he is the God of compassion. He's the God of mercy. He's the God of patience. He's the God of unfailing love. That is who he is, because that's who he says he is. And I've just been praying all week that you will relocate your hope in him, because if you relocate your hope in God, you can be going through some great letdowns in your life right now, but you can have great expectations for your future because you have a great God. Because if God is who he says he is, he'll walk with you through your letdowns. If God is who he says he is, he will open the doors in your life that need to be opened. If God is who he says he is, he will close the doors in your life that need to be closed. If God is who he says he is, he will cheer for you. He will root for you. He will be with you. He will lead your family. He will lead you. He will lead your life, because that's who he is. That's who went on the cross and stood between us and certain death, because he's the God of compassion, mercy, patience, and unfailing love. Is anybody thankful for that at all? That's who he is. So let me just pray for you as we remember that this week. God, I'm thankful that we can remember who you are. And in the verse that the Old Testament authors seem to be enamored with, you just laid out exactly who you are. And you're the God of compassion and mercy and patience and unfailing love, God. That's who you are. And so, God, I know we walk in here just kind of having these preconceived ideas of who you are based on our circumstances in life. But God, I just pray we'll walk out of here knowing that you are who you say you are. And so if we need compassion right now, we can get it from you. If we need mercy, if we need patience, if we need unfailing love, if we need somebody to be faithful to us, it's going to be you. And that doesn't mean that our life circumstances are always going to be okay, but it does mean that you will always be there for us to walk with us through those things. And it means that we can have great expectations for a great future, because you're not an average God. You're not a mediocre God. You are a great God. So God, we rest in that. We get peace in that, and we expect that, because that's exactly who you said you were. So Jesus, we believe that, we love you, and we thank you for it. And everybody said, amen.